Dime says, I think we all go through this. I'm in a spiritual journey and notice people keep leaving in and out, and I'm not having consistent people staying. Do you have any advice? All things do come to an end, you know? Like if I think about in my life, different friends I've had or different seasons, like people are coming and going, which can be a shock too, especially if you create like a great connection. I had like two mentors in my life that were like every day we are talking with each other, and then boom, like it's almost as if they disappeared. Like they came into my life, blessed me, and then disappeared. You know, these were older mentors of mine, like uncles, I would call them. And since then, I haven't had a mentor. Maybe the journey is teaching you how to appreciate things as they are in the moment and how to be comfortable with endings, right? If you think about it, there's a start and end to everything, even our own life, right? We over romanticize the beginning, but how often do we not realize that even us will pass one day and we're going to have to be comfortable with that fact? So even if people are coming in and out of your life and there's really like no pattern to like notice that like it's because you're causing that, right? If they're just coming and going, maybe it's a sign to be comfortable with things ending, right? Like you're on a journey. So at the end of the day, like people will come into your life and also be reflections. Like some people come into your life for a season and like you're teaching one another something, you're reflecting one another something about yourself. You learn, lesson is learned, love is shared, and now they're gone. You know what I'm saying? Like my one buddy, we've been friends forever. But for a few years, I didn't see him. And then like, boom, we're seeing each other twice a week. We're hitting the sauna every day together. And I'm like, it's good to be with an old friend again. We're hitting the sauna, having good conversations. And then boom, he moved to Africa. You understand? And I'm like, damn, bruh. But it's also like things come to an end. Still friends, but you know, things shift, they evolved, and we have to be comfortable with that, right? But there's always going to be room and opportunities for connection and new friendships or whatever it may be. But we also can't like try to hold on to everything because we're not in control of that, right? You're not in control of anybody else's life. You're not even in control of any relationship you have fully, right? There's two people, right? Two people can come into that relationship or that dynamic and give their time. But as soon as one person decides to step out and leave, or something in life happens and draws their energy into a different direction, maybe they're going through something, you can't control that. You have to accept it, right? So acceptance is really good. That's what will allow us to be a little bit more calm through things. I don't think it's a problem, we even come in and out of people's lives as well, just as people come in and out of our lives, right? That's just how it is. We'll also be rejected sometimes. That's just how it is. Rejection is redirection. Sometimes it's healthy for us. Sometimes it's really good for you to go through a season of rejection to know that like, hey, I don't live for the approval of everybody else. Like sometimes so much rejection can really give you a compass on where to find your validation, because that season will show you that you were searching for your validation in everybody else. That's why you were chasing or people pleasing, or like meeting people, constantly asking yourself like, oh, like what if they don't like me? You ever done that? Like you ever met somebody and then you go back home and you're thinking about something you said and you're over analyzing it? And then that's like a signal right there that like, oh, you care a little bit too much. You know what I'm saying? You showed up with great intention. You were yourself. Even if they reject you, it is what it is. And some seasons will show us that. You understand? Sometimes we're not just people's flavor either. Sometimes people aren't our flavor, So if you recognize that you're on a journey, that's what it is. You're on a journey and you're going to experience new things that you are uncomfortable with. But then at the end of the day, like the reminder deck says, clip your wings so a new set of wings can grow. Sometimes those wings are people, right? Sometimes people will remove themselves from our lives, or we remove people from our lives. Sometimes we have to do that so we can grow, because they become a cause of stagnancy for us, So it's a beautiful thing. Getting comfortable with endings is actually pretty important. I realize is like, when you know something needs to end too, knowing that you can end it, right? Sometimes we allow situations and things to just drag on because we don't want to go through the ending, that little breakup or whatever it may be. But getting comfortable with ending things, I think, is important, which is quite difficult, I think. Evie says acceptance really needs to be a constant reminder. Yeah, I made a video yesterday that I put up about like just accepting. Just like I stay pretty calm through things because I just accept. Like things happen. And like, sometimes things happen to you for reasons, and sometimes things happen to you that you just cannot control, and it just is what it is, and you just kind of have to accept the human experience and move forward. Like, when something bad happens, it's like, what are you going to do? You can react and make it worse for yourself, or you can accept it and, grow through it and, make a positive plan forward in the right direction. Like there's just so much that we can't control. Like a meteorite could hit the planet tomorrow. We can't control that. What are you going to do about it? People will say negative things about you. What are you going to do about it? You can't control it. People will say things that aren't true, but what you can do, you can't control it. It just is what it is. And then you accept. I was listening to Mel Robbins. Oprah was saying that. Like Oprah was like, I guess Oprah was like, she realized the internet spreads crazy conspiracies about her, She was talking to Mel Robbins and Oprah, and they're talking about just like let them, I think Mel Robbins has a book called The Let Them Theory, and I haven't read it, so I'm guessing it's about letting people do what they do, like if someone leaves your life, let them, I'm saying if someone is judging you, let them, that's on them. And Oprah was talking about how, she can't believe how people spread these crazy conspiracies about her on the internet, and they do. People be like, she's like a secret witch warlock who like harvests kids' souls and stuff like that. They go crazy with the conspiracies and they fully believe it. And she's like, in her mind, she's like, man, I've built these platforms. I've had important discussions for decades. I've like done all these positive things, and these people believe the worst things about me. And she like realized, well, let them. Just let them. You can't do nothing about it. You can't control people's perceptions about you. Same thing if you're going to be a creator or like an influencer or any type of public figure, you're going to have to accept that you're going to have to let people assume things about you, say things about you, make up things about you, because it's going to happen. Let them. Accept it. Let them. You understand? As long as you know who you are and the people closest to you know who you are, you good. You understand? Again, and often when people are judging you, one, God say don't judge. So they're already breaking the commandment. You're not supposed to judge, right? You can critique ideas, but you're not supposed to judge people, right? Because we're all God's children. We're all just human beings. We're all just people. And we do a little bit too much judging in this day and age. A little bit too much. But you let them. Because often when someone is judging you, they're judging like your first few steps, not your heart. Like they can't see what is in your heart. They can't even see your intentions, or they're judging you based on their own internal world and their own bias. Like people who, I always say this, like when people are like, oh, like I'm worried people are going to judge me. Well, maybe you judge a lot of people. That's why you're worried people are going to judge you. If you're like, oh, I want to start a YouTube channel, but I don't want people to make fun of me. Well, do you make fun of people? And if the answer is no, then like, why would people make fun of you? And even if they do, like, again, normally the people who judge people or make fun of people for trying to do something positive in their life are the people who aren't doing anything positive in their life. Anybody that's built a business knows how hard it is to build a business. Those people would never talk down or make fun of people trying to start a business, right? They'll give you advice and critique, but they're going to be like, you have an idea? Okay, this is what it takes. Only the people who haven't done anything or who are full of like hate because they're upset with themselves will judge your steps. It's only the people who are necessarily, I don't say below because we're all equal as human beings, but the people who are like below in the things that they're doing, if they haven't done much, they will judge you for trying to do something. It's never really the people above. The people above are focused on what they're doing. The people above have done it, so they know how hard it is. So again, you have to let them. And I actually like that. So maybe I will read her book because it's so true. And I've learned that you got to let people, it's like, all right, whatever, let them, People watch my videos and be like, oh, I can see in your eyes that you're really like working for like the warlock wizards. What are you talking about? You see in my eyes, I'm working for the warlock wizards. You sound like an idiot. Let them sound like an idiot. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just how it is. You can't control people's at all. If they're in your life, if they're not in your life, what they say about you, what they think about you, you can only do what I always say. When you lead with love, you leave with love. So regardless, don't allow this corrupt, cruel, ignorant world to destroy your heart, because that's your superpower, right? That's what Jesus was talking about when he said, love your neighbor and your enemy as yourself. It was like, no matter, why would he say, love your enemy? Your enemy is your enemy. You're not even supposed to like your enemy, but he's saying, love your enemy. It's like, no matter what they do, Your superpower is to continue to love. Doesn't mean you let your enemy within your parameters, right? It's just like, yo, I forgive you. I dropped the anger, and I send love your way because the same creator that made me also made you. So damn, I gotta love you in some type of way. So if you're gonna judge me and talk shit, let them. Let them. You know what I'm saying? You just gotta let it be. And that is a really humbling experience. When you know you don't have to like constantly be seeking the approval for the world from the world, right? Bible talks about that. Like, don't be in this world, but don't be of it, right? Like, be in this world, but don't be of it, right? It says like God's religion is one who takes care of the elderly, the orphans, and the one who doesn't allow oneself to be corrupted by the world. So you have to do so much in this world to protect like your heart and your spirit, because there's a lot of unfortunate things that happen. You know, there's people. You may be very naive and innocent, like I am. I can be a very naive individual, thinking that like everyone has like good intentions. This is kind of how I am. You know, like I see the best in people. Some people do some wicked things and just blindside you, and you just have to continue to be like, you know what, I'm not gonna allow that to like change my perception on the world fully, and like, focus on the good things in your life and continue. And that's what's going to grow. That's going to grow your heart and your mind and your spirit in like amazing, amazing ways, amazing ways. And then I believe like God gonna see what you're doing and be like, man, look at this person. Their heart posture is amazing. I need to go bless this. I need to go bless this individual right quick, right? You're not doing those things to get blessed, but it's just like, God, like, man, let me bless you one time for the love that you've been putting out in this earth. Let me bless you one time. You understand? You're not out here trying to spread negativity or whatever that is. Let me bless you one time, doing your best, doing the best you can while you can. It will happen.